on? This is PW Beast with PWB Performance, and today I got one of my clients here who is going to be doing his first powerlifting competition. The reason for this video is I know when I started doing my first competition, I looked on YouTube, I was asking a whole bunch of questions, and I didn't have a coach, so I was just winging it. So this video is for people who are just winging it. All right, and I wanted to get a perspective of you since you are new. What are your fears? What do you think is going to happen? Stuff of that nature. So,
it's definitely scary. I've been working out for like a really long time, so you know you have that confidence of, man, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. But when you see those competitions, and especially when you read what they're like lifting and all of that, you're like, maybe I should get a coach. Like, maybe I should have somebody leading me to it. Yeah. That was one of my biggest fears.
I think when I first started, I had that as well. I didn't know what the weight, but mainly I didn't know what to do. I'm like, what happens when I get there? I didn't know anything about weigh-ins. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't know about anything, right? So I walked in there just, you know, I was asking some random people, what should you eat? And I was talking about eating like, I had like PB&J sandwiches, Pop-Tarts, you know, and I didn't do anything. Stuff. I didn't eat what I was supposed to eat like a couple hours before. So that is what I was worried about, is what do I do throughout the whole day? What is it going to look like? How is this going to be, you know, be performed? So as far, I know you said you're nervous, a little bit nervous about the numbers, right? Yeah, about what you're going to have. How is the training different from what you were doing before to what you're doing now?
I was just working out. I was one of the dudes that went to the gym every freaking day. You know, you got I did the chest and bis this day, then back that day, and then I'm doing push days and switched to the push and pull days. Then I did a CrossFit phase. And so one of the biggest, I just didn't have direction. And I didn't have like an end point or a goal. So I was just working out. And everybody like, you know, what are you working out for? I'm like, you know, it was a hobby. So it's just like I'm going to the gym. But then you start seeing the competition. It's always been a goal, like a personal goal of mine. So I'm seeing this competition. I'm like, I definitely want to get started. And I know you hit on the nutrition earlier. For me, that was a huge thing too. I've been vegetarian for 10 years. Yes. And you know, I just switched to pescatarian just because it was super hard, you know, especially staying in Wisconsin, super hard to follow a nutrition like plan, and you don't eat meat and you're in this rural area, you know, with not a lot of options. Yeah, and with nutrition too, you know, especially people who are vegetarian, I mean, you'd definitely be able to compete those ways. You just gotta figure out what type to eat. But I seen you try to go to a restaurant and order some stuff, and the options are bare. So, but I would say for sure, some things about nutrition before is something I didn't know going in, and what I stress to you is that day before your competition. Really, it starts the night before. The night you gotta get your nutrition in, right? That's your proteins, your carbs. You gotta really load up on those things. Sometimes you gotta wake up earlier in the morning, the competition day, to get your protein in, so you can have that protein 2 hours before. Have your complex carbs an hour and a half before, an hour before, right? So you want some real food, and I know a lot of people talk about eating the candies, the Pop-Tarts, and all that other stuff. That may be good because it's a long day. So that's good to kind of get you some good sugar throughout the day, but in reality you have to eat before, you got to eat during, and then of course you got to eat after for recovery. But if you don't have a good pre-meal going for you and a good during meal, you're going to struggle. And that during meal has to be something of substance. That has to be, I will stay away from fats because it takes a little longer. So the peanut butter I'll stay away from, just because it does take a little longer to kind of digest. But you want this complex carbs before, the oatmeals. You want the proteins, the eggs before. And then during, you want some simple carbs, but that's going to give you a push right away, but like right away. That's why those, you know, Gatorade gels is good, you know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people do. They thought about the candy, but they took it out of perspective. So, I would definitely recommend people to get somebody to get to know you, whether that's you got the money to hire a nutritionist, or you know, you get a personal trainer who's also, you know, knowledgeable in nutrition, to get to know you. Because when you're going into a competition, it's going to open your eyes for a lot of different things. Like, I got to get to know my body, and then you have to get to know my body just as much as I have to know my body in every aspect of nutrition and strength and how your body moves. You know, we were just talking about pelvis and like, all right, no, you need to do this rather than that. So having somebody like knowledgeable on all of those things to actually coach you through it is highly, highly, highly recommended. Are you going to be in there blind, like you said, when you went to your first competition?
Exactly.
You know what to do. Like I ain't. You know, you hear the TikToks and the reels about, you know, have some Skittles in your thing or eat a slice of pizza right before you go to the gym, you're going to burn that off. And I was, like, legit believing that. So I'm like, oh, man, this pizza before I go to the gym, I'm good, I'm going to burn this off. And you like, then you really get to know not only what the books say, but like, oh, shoot, my body works this way.
Exactly.
When I eat Skittles, I have this reaction. And I've lifted this with this diet, and I lifted that with that diet.
You don't understand how important that what you just said is, because a lot of people will talk about, some people don't do very well with caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, caffeine makes them upset, or their stomach upset. So if you go straight to an event talking about, all right, well, TikTokers told me to go take a bunch of caffeine before I go there, not knowing that caffeine actually hurts your body or upsets your body, you have to train as you fight before. You have to go through what you're going to go through before the event days, you know? Mm-hmm. Now let's move on to another big thing that when I first came in, I didn't have a coach doing this, and I actually messed up a lot, and that's commands. Commands was ridiculous for me. I walked in, I remember they took the bar away from me. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? Right? So how nervous are you? Do you feel like you're prepared for the commands? Did you know the commands was going to be such a big thing coming into powerlifting?
Nervousness level, 1 through 10, 7.
Okay.
Just because I think I'm gonna just be so much in the zone, and you know when you're like super like focused, you just go back to your like basic training.
Right.
And you know if anybody work out growing up, like hood working out and stuff like that, where you just benching all day and stuff like that, you hit chest, do this, and it's like I am scared, but again, what you coaching me, you saying you're gonna be there, you're gonna be yelling, focus on technique. I'm definitely getting a lot more comfortable with the commands, and I try to, just like you said earlier, practice how I fight. Even when I'm benching by myself, I'm like, all right, lift, all right, down,
good, yeah,
boom, and then making sure, and then also when I am lifting, have that wiggle room. Like, what if they hit me with something and I don't want to, have enough, make sure I have enough strength for whatever they hit me. Like, you need to hold it there for 3 seconds. Like, oh shoot, like, all right. But yeah, I would say overall super nervous, but I'm definitely getting there, and I think practice how you fight. I'll help you.
For sure. And I think the big thing is, so you got the commands, you got the nutrition. Those are really big, especially coming in if you're new, not knowing what to expect with those things. I would also say mentality. We talked about that today, right? I can't stress how being physically and mentally prepared for your events is huge. I used to psych myself out going, this doesn't happen to everybody, but I'll say for me, going in thinking this is it, this is my 600 pounds, this is 600 club, I gotta get this. So much stuff was going through my head, and my best competition I've ever had. So you get 3 lifts, but if you're going for a record, you can get your 4th lift, if you didn't know that. So you got your first, second, and third attempt. Third attempt supposed to be your strongest, but if you hit that and you made the record there, you can try to beat the record with the 4th attempt. So on the 4th attempt, I was trying to beat my past record I just hit, and I was talking about 600. Everything was going. This is a record for Wisconsin. I gotta get this going, and I got all the way up, psyched myself out. I was like, I can't believe what was going through my head. I was like, I'm about to do it, and then drops. So mentally, do you feel like you're psyching yourself out before you get your lift, or do you feel like, man, this is just so big? Because that's what's great about powerlifting. Every day, every lift, one single event, one lift can be so drastic to you. It can make or break your day. Everything you've gone off for this one lift. How do you feel like mentally you're ready for that?
Wow. I would say that's probably my biggest
issue?
hurdle that I have to overcome. And it's a mix of a whole bunch of different things. I'm a pretty big dude. Y'all probably can't tell because of the sweater and stuff, but I'm pretty big, I'm pretty fit, and if you just look at me, you'd be like, all right, that dude definitely fucking works out. And one thing that gets me all the time, when people just come up to kids and stuff, how much can you bench? How much can you do this? Like, literally, that is what I be thinking when I'm on this bench. Like, when you're in the gym, it's like, damn, I'm supposed to be the alpha of this gym, man. So I gotta constantly be like heavier than everybody here and stuff. There's so much stuff that go in my head. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not even focused on my grip. I'm not focused on my breathing. My back not thing. My feet aren't. I'm focused on like people thinking, can I hit this and hit that? And it just messes up my mentality. I didn't know. Man, I don't even know if that's even more important than the physical part or harder than the physical part, or if not, they are like neck and neck as far as mentality.
Because Because what I was saying, because I get, well, mine's not the same as yours with the kid thing. But for sure, what helped me the most is when I did fail, when I did mess up that 600. And I actually went on a streak. My mental stuff was so bad. I went to Denver to do a competition, and I was blowing these cats out the water. I was like, I lift, I'm like, man, I got this. And so much goes in my head. I'm about to get the best lifter. I'm about to get everything here. This is it. I'm about to get my 600 pound. I just knocked out a 560 something, 565 squat. Things were looking great for me, right?
Good
and then I got to my deadlift. And then they're like, red light. I'm like, what happened? I was all in my head. I was like, what? Are they going to red light me? Bam, a second red light. And the third time, a third red light. I was disqualified. So having that really demoralized me going into my next competition because it was on mental. And then that's when I thought, like I was telling you today, I don't know if I'm going to lift this weight. It's not. It's beyond me if this weight gets up or not. It's beyond me if I get these red lights or white lights. All I know is I better lift this. I'm going to lift. This bar is going to bend in my head. And I'm going to focus on my cues, focus on my stuff, and I'm going to lift this thing up the best I possibly can. And I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to act like I'm breaking this bar. And then from then on out, I remember I did this mid-competition. I was sitting there because one competition after the Denver one, I was really feeling down on myself. And I was going, and I got hit again. I think it was in Minnesota. Another one right off the bat. They said red light, and so I'm sitting there down in the dumps, you know. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit, man. I walked in there, right? I'm over here. I'm like pumping up the crowd, you know. I'm like having a great time. I'm like, whatever. Who cares, man? I'm about to get red lights again. That's what's about to happen. But you know, they're not gonna see me fall. And I lift this puppy up, and I knew right away when I lift that up, I nodded, and I was like, yep, I got this shit. Came back again, got my third lift, which is higher than that, and that broke that mental barrier. But
well, I definitely can't wait to break that mental barrier. But I think it also just circles back to what you were saying earlier with knowing how it works and then knowing yourself and your training on you. Like with me, I hate working out with music. If I'm going heavy, like regular working out or regular workouts, music all day. Jay-Z, this, that. I just added rock and roll and this and that. If I'm lifting heavy, I need C.T. Fletcher in my ear. Yeah. Like I need somebody calling me a B word, some MFs. I need somebody like in my face, like drill sergeant, da 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 da. And I have to be like in that zone, and that's when I get my best lifts, or nothing at all. But it's just getting to know yourself and knowing like how your mentality works with certain situations that you're in. It's a doozy, man.
I think you're gonna like your first lift first competition, because what I wasn't expecting was the crowd. My first competition was in Southern California, Ontario, and Cali Muscle was there. It was other big names there, and the crowd was going crazy to the point where I kind of like blacked out. I didn't even think about like my weight. All I knew was I was doing a squat that normally I was doing 500, and I busted this 500 out like it was 125. And everyone's like, what the fuck? How you only gonna do one? Like, you left so much weight on the table. And I was like, I didn't even know I had that in me. Because you really don't think about things when you have someone just yelling at you and you got people in there and you look at the crowd and everyone's just going crazy, especially if you failed before. I'm telling you, there's no other feeling. And then, then you lift it up, bam. You immediately look at the white lights. You look for the lights, get the white lights. Man, great. Your whole day is juice. And then you're tired as hell throughout the whole day.
I can't wait. And that's probably where you get your best meals, too, them after meals.
Oh, the after meals the best, and then you get your best sleep because you've been hyped up on freaking chocolate.
Hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, hyped up on Mountain Dew the whole time. So I wanted to get your perspective. That was the main topic for this video, is getting your perspective on that. We'll do another one of these videos after, so we can kind of see what you thought before, how did it feel after. But this video is really mainly for people who was like, I'm going in, I want to hear somebody new, maybe get some more information. I might post another video about specifics on how, what you should be looking forward to, but this is just a good talk, right? So I know we're going to be looking at probably December, January, trying that time frame.
Yeah.
And then we get your first lift.
I can't wait.
Hey guys, once again, thanks